Man, you sitting down? Because this week in Pittsburgh was like a prime-time drama with an unexpected twist, a crazy turn of events, and even some beef between the quarterback and receiver. And look, I'm Jack Romano, and I've seen a lot in my life as a fan. But this one caught me by surprise. DK Metcalf is salty with Rodgers because of video games? Meanwhile, the franchise's eyes are on Trey Lance, with an eye to the future, and Terry McLaurin's name is starting to circulate heavily behind the scenes. And there was a defensive reinforcement too, but at the end of the day, the question on everyone's mind is, are the Steelers going all in for 2025? Well, my fellow Pittsburgh Steelers fan, before we get into the details of the latest Steelers news, just a quick request. If you like this kind of analysis, subscribe to the channel. It really helps the project grow and keeps this passionate Steelers community alive. We're in this together. Okay, let's start with something light. Or maybe not, right? Because when DK Metcalf says he's salty with Aaron Rodgers because they haven't played video games together yet, you laugh. But a fan with that Steel City soul knows how to read between the lines. This isn't just a joke. Metcalf is sending a message. He wants to be valued. He wants proximity. He wants chemistry. And when your star wide receiver starts to feel left out, even if it's over Call of Duty, it's time to raise the alarm. DK said, "Offended isn't the word, but I am a little salty." That, coming from a guy who trains, takes care of himself, and has already shown a connection with Rodgers in practice, it's a sign that he's asking for more attention. And that, my friend, brings us into a discussion that Yinzer Nation knows well. A quarterback-receiver relationship is almost like a marriage. If there's no dialogue, if there's no chemistry off the field, it won't flow on the field. And look, the two of them have already trained together before the season, they've FaceTimed, they've talked. But so far, Rodgers has gone to play with other guys on the roster, and not with DK. Coincidence? Who knows? But for those of us watching the offense still trying to adjust, we can't play around with that kind of chemistry. Because, let's be honest, with the situation at the wide receiver position still very unstable, we can't afford to let the guy who should be your main safety valve get cold. DK Metcalf has the physicality, the explosiveness, the instinct, but if he feels like the QB doesn't trust or prioritize him, then we're screwed. And what's more, this kind of thing goes viral, takes over the locker room, and becomes locker room chatter. And fans have seen this movie before. Now, of course, there's a positive side too. If this talk about video games is just some friendly teasing and Rodgers is already planning that BBQ with a PlayStation included, then great. We'll laugh along. But if it's the beginning of a rift, then hold on to that steel curtain because this goes deeper. And I'll tell you, in this league, the details define a season. And if this little detail about who plays video games with whom turns into locker room noise, that could turn into a storm. Do you think I'm exaggerating, or is there something more to this? Comment below. Now hold on tight because the next piece of news could shake up this franchise's future even more. Now hold on to your hats because a name that's coming back strong on the Rooney Standard radar is Trey Lance. Yes, that's right, the former top 3 draft pick who seemed like the future of the 49ers and ended up being the backup to the backup. But calm down, take a breath, because the context is different now, and for us, the Terrible Towel legacy fans, this name could mean hope beyond 2025. Let's get to the facts. Trey Lance will be the Chargers starter in the Hall of Fame game. That's right, and it's not just any game. It's the first preseason game, everyone watches, all the franchises have their eyes on it. What does this have to do with Pittsburgh? Everything. Because the Steelers signed Rodgers for now, for this year, and he himself has already said this might be his last dance. In other words, the quarterback position is settled. But only until February. And then what? Are they going to bet on a rookie again? Are they going to try another broken-down veteran? Or are they going to try to make a smart move now? That's where Trey Lance comes in. The guy is still only 25, he has the arm, he has the legs, he has the physicality, and he has something we value around here, the desire to prove everyone wrong about him. When he played, he produced over 1,000 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, almost 300 rushing yards, 1 rushing TD. And look, I'm not saying he's going to turn into the next Big Ben, but if he shows in the game against the Lions that he's evolved, that he's more confident, more mature, the Steelers have to get heavy into the conversation. Imagine the guy spending a year on the bench, learning from Rodgers, breathing in Arthur Smith's system, getting the hang of the city, the fan base, the pressure. Then, in 2026, he comes in guns blazing. Wow, that's planning. And the best part, he's still cheap. The contract is controlled, it fits into the cap. And if the Chargers want to let him go, man, it's now or never. Because if he plays well in this game, teams will be calling left and right. And if we just stand by and watch, we might miss a golden opportunity. I know, some people don't trust him. They think Lance is a bust. But think about it. Isn't it better to risk a high-ceiling talent now than to be in the eternal quarterback carousel next year? So, would you bring Lance in to spend a year learning from Rodgers? Or do you think it's a trap? Comment below, because I want to see the temperature of the Blitz Brotherhood. Now hold on tight, because the next name that could arrive in Pittsburgh is a big one, and it could change everything on offense. Let's be real. If you told me 2 years ago that the Steelers' offense could have DK Metcalf and Terry McLaurin at the same time, I would have laughed and said, "Go play Madden, buddy." But look where we are now, with McLaurin dissatisfied in Washington and the Steelers in this all-in mood for 2025. His name started circulating heavily in the backstage of Pittsburgh Passion. And man, just thinking about it gives me goosebumps. The proposed deal they're talking about? Calvin Austin and a third-round pick in 2026. Is that a lot? Yes, but it's not unthinkable. McLaurin has 5 straight seasons with over 1,000 yards, and that's playing with a quarterback room that was more like Russian roulette. It changed every year. Now imagine him with Rodgers, on the other side of Metcalf, with Jonnu Smith in the middle and still being able to stretch plays with Roman Wilson coming in on the edges. That's pure dynamite. The problem is the contract. McLaurin wants more than $30 million a year. And that leaves the Steel dynasty with that agonizing question. Is it worth paying 2 elite wide receivers at the same time? Metcalf already has a fat contract, and McLaurin will want more. But then you get to the part of the die-hard fan here. Brother, we have Aaron Rodgers for 1 year. This is the moment. We can't be thinking about 2030 now. It's 2025 or nothing. And to make this year count, we need weapons. DK alone will be double-teamed like crazy, especially with the unstable history of our other receivers. Calvin Austin has had flashes, Robert Woods has given us what he has, and Roman Wilson is still a wild card. Then you look at McLaurin, you see the history, you see the consistency, and you think, what are we waiting for? Now, of course, there are the buts. McLaurin will be 30, there might be that question about durability, and there's the money. But man, if we're going all in, let's go all the way, damn it. DK plus McLaurin is the kind of duo that makes defenses cry in the huddle. And after what we went through last year, staying stagnant is going backward. We have to accelerate. And look, I'm not easily fooled. But if they bring this guy in, we can start dreaming big again, without fear. Now you tell me, would you send Calvin Austin away to bring in McLaurin? Or would you hold on to the pick and bet on who's already on the roster? Leave it in the comments, because I want to see the pulse of the Iron City grit. And hey, hold on, because there was a defensive reinforcement too. We're going to talk about that now. And to close out this whirlwind of news, let's go to the defensive side. Because, my friend, the training camp turned into an emergency room. Right at the beginning of the second week, we lost 3 names on the defensive line. Dean Lowry, Jacob Slade, and Asazi Otomewo, all with knee problems. 3 guys. At that point, there was no choice. The coaching staff needed to act fast, and they called up Kyler Baugh. And I know, the most distracted fan will say, who? But listen to me here. Baugh is a guy who worked hard in Minnesota, was with the Falcons on the practice squad, and was playing in the UFL with the Battlehawks. What does he have? Hunger. Desire. A drive to wear the black and gold and get the job done. In college, the guy had 77 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, a pass deflection, a forced fumble, and now, on the UFL team, he still stacked up 14 tackles and a sack in 4 games. That's no joke. Now, he arrives in a pile of names that are fighting hard for a spot on the roster. There's Isaiah Loudermilk, Daniel Ekwale, Dominique Davis, Yeha Black, Logan Lee. That's a lot of people. But I'll tell you, with this wave of injuries, if he shows intensity, if he comes to practice with fire in his eyes, he has a real chance to stick around. And you know what? I like this kind of guy. No celebrity, no media, just a desire to work. It's the spirit of the Blitz Brotherhood, of those defensive roots that we've always respected. Now, of course, he's going to need to show it on the field. The coaches aren't going to hand him anything, and with the first preseason game already knocking on the door, the time is now. You know that guy who could be the sleeper of the offseason? He might not be a starter, he might not even be a standout, but he'll be there, getting in the OL's face in practice, filling the playbook with sweat, giving his all on the goal line. That's what this locker room needs, especially with so many people leaving with injuries. And I'll say this, a championship defense isn't just made of the Pro Bowl guys. It's made of the blue-collar workers, the Kyler Baws of the world, who nobody knows now, but who in the middle of the season could be the difference between stopping a 3rd and 2 or giving up a touchdown. So, fan, is Baugh just another camp body, or could he turn into a roster surprise? Let me know, because after everything that happened this week, all that's left is to put it all together and think, where is this team going? Take a deep breath, Black and Gold Pride fan, because if this week proved anything, it's that the Pittsburgh Steelers are pushing all their chips into the middle for 2025. From a little tiff between DK and Rodgers, to a close eye on Trey Lance, to a possible bombshell with McLaurin and a last-minute defensive reinforcement, everything is in motion. And you know what that screams? That this team is going to war, without looking back. Now answer me from the heart, if all this works out, is it Super Bowl or just a pipe dream? If you believe in all of this, give it a like and let's go.